On this episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast, we talk about Human Sacrifice by Vengeance Rising. To another episode of the Bronze Metalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
We're two professional broadcasters. We like metal, and we like to talk about it. And we love to over-enunciate our words.
We often do. That is one thing that we are quite known for.
Exactly. Every time we go on the air, we always have very clear diction. And that's definitely true.
You can definitely see my diction through the window.
If you are looking at us through the window for some reason, you weirdos.
That used to be a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I desperately wish we didn't have windows inside the building for people to look at me through.
Yeah, it's like being in a fishbowl.
I fucking hate it.
Yeah.
Well, and there have been, like, last week, there was a time where, I think it was last week, I snapped at you a little bit because I was in the middle of recording something and you decided to be silly at exactly the wrong moment. And you tried to entertain me at exactly the wrong moment.
Not
I was like,
to be
what?
entertained. Oh, sorry, dude.
What do you want?
I walked away. Wrong time.
I just fucking hate it because, like I see everyone walks by and they do the thing that people do where they, there's a person over there. I'm going to look at him for a second. But I don't like it when people look at me. Yeah. Or at the very least, I don't like it when people look at me and I'm not, like, talking to them and having a conversation with them. Eye contact is fine if I'm actually talking to somebody.
But if I'm not talking to you, disengage. Over
here, I don't like being observed if I'm not in an interaction because it just feels like I'm being stared at. And, my brain doesn't know that pair of eyes isn't a lion on the Serengeti or something. The human brain,
so it's a more flight than fight situation, or maybe a combination of both.
It's the human brain goes eyes,
right?
Eyes. There are eyes over there. Figure out what that is. Look over. Hey, look over there. There are eyes. There are eyes. Survival.
How many eyes?
You might die. How many?
There's 20 eyes.
There are. How many lights are there? Star Trek reference.
Yes.
That's one I know. I haven't seen that episode though, but that's a Star Trek reference I know.
Yeah, somebody brought up the subject of gaslighting a few years ago, and I went, "Oh, you mean that episode where that Cardassian?"
The episode of Star Trek?
Yeah, where he gaslights Picard.
I mean, it's less gaslighting, and because gaslighting involves some deception. That was more just it was just breaking someone's will and getting them to admit something that is blatantly untrue just because you've broken them mentally. Whereas gaslighting generally involves some deception and social manipulation and trying to get someone to doubt their reality rather than flat out deny it. But yeah. Anyhow, how you doing?
I'm doing good. It's funny because I had a long weekend. It was a weekend. It started Friday morning, or maybe it started Thursday night, really, and then it ended Sunday night. Yeah, and it just felt like a forever weekend. I didn't know what day it was half the time because what I did was I traveled to Minnesota. Yeah, and I attended my very first satanic wedding.
Yeah, you didn't know it was going to be a satanic wedding.
I didn't know, but I mean,
you knew it was going to be like a goth wedding. But.
Sure. When I got there, they're like, according to the Church of Satan, I'm like, oh, of course.
Oh yeah, of course that's what this would be.
Yeah. Duh. Yeah, and then they cut their hands and bled together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That seems a little intense.
It wasn't like slash.
Yeah,
it was prick a finger.
Probably
kind of
just a little bit. Okay,
yeah.
That's different then.
Sure.
I was thinking full on in a coming of age 80s movie. We're gonna be blood brothers, and the cut is so deep.
Yeah, it's
like you are cutting tendons.
You're gonna need to see a doctor soon.
You're gonna need physical therapy, man.
Or like when in those movies where they slice open their necks and they join their heads at the bottom.
Yeah, all those movies where they do that.
That was such a trope.
I've seen that in so many movies.
Oh, man, I got tired of seeing
That's such a thing. It's such a cliche at this point. Nobody actually does that, but it's in all the movies.
Not IRL.
But how was the rest of the experience after that?
It was great. We stayed up. Well, I went with my old friend Tigger, and I forgot because I hadn't hung out with Tigger in a very long time. I forgot how mean she is.
Oh no! I hope she's not listening.
No, she knows.
Okay.
She's well aware. That would not be news to Tigger. I mean,
okay.
But she wields it like a mighty hammer. I mean, at one point I'm like, gosh, I should really stop drinking. It's been the night is young yet, and we're gonna be here till 10 o'clock. And she's like, "You're 51. Are you fucking new? Switch to beer, asshole." Oh, good. Okay, good idea.
Have you forgotten how to drink?
Yeah. God damn it! Didn't come here to fucking babysit you.
Oh my God. You should know better by now. Learn how to drink. Just slow down. Have a beer.
Yeah, it was a great time. And all I brought home, we ended up leaving like at 10 o'clock. We went back to the hotel in Grand Forks and closed the bar down at the hotel.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Closing the bar down.
Woke up.
When's closing time in Minnesota?
2 a.m.
Okay. That's the normal time for most places.
Well, this is Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Oh, it was Grand Forks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yes.
Well,
yes.
the wedding party went down to the casino in Mahnomen, and they're like, coming to Mahnomen. We're like, that's 30 miles in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
we need to get home. We're old. We have jobs.
We got places to be.
Yeah, so we
that aren't here.
40 minutes to Grand Forks. Got really, really hammered with the only 2 patrons in the bar.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, it was great. So we talked to the bartender all night till eventually, I think I remember at some point Tigger going, "OJ, again, did you forget how to drink?" And my arm over her neck all the way back to the room. Poured me into the other queen bed.
It sounds like fun.
It was fun. And all I brought back was a virus.
Yeah. You've been sick.
Mm-hmm.
I was, when you bringing up like going back to North Dakota, because for some reason I was under the impression that the wedding was in like Minneapolis, which does not sound like it's the case.
It was in Fertile, Minnesota.
Good old Fertile, Minnesota.
Fertile. It was just up north.
Lots of kids in Fertile, Minnesota.
Sure, and there's less kids south of there in Moorhead.
How many?
Hard to make kids that way.
I thought maybe south of Fertile would be barren.
I don't. There was like a climax or something. It was something.
Climax, Minnesota.
Yeah, something like that.
That's funny. No, I was thinking of the first year I went to Warped Tour. Everyone was poorer than they would be later, and so we after Warped Tour. Like we only stayed in a hotel the day before, and then after Warped Tour, we drove all the way back to Fargo from Minneapolis. Dead tired, and
that's a long trip when you're dead tired.
Yeah, and driving, starting the trip, leaving Shakopee,
a little bit hungover.
No, we weren't. We wouldn't have been. First of all, because alcohol would have been prohibitively expensive. I don't know if anyone was 21, actually, because I would have been 18, and my older friend that I went with only would have been 20. So I don't think there was no alcohol purchased at the event. Anyway, yeah, we drove all the way back to Fargo. Leaving the concerts at like 9. Because we stayed there until the end, because there was a band. One of the bands that my friend really wanted to see was one of the last bands performing. I think that was, I think it was Attila. I think if you remember, do you remember Attila?
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
yeah.
I have no idea what they're up to these days.
Yeah.
If they're still around or not.
Working at Starbucks.
I don't know. Their front man was. I think he kind of came from money, but kind of famously was pretty good with money, and managed to for as successful as the band was, which was they were quite popular, you're still, a rap metalcore band.
Sure.
At the end of the day, I don't care how big the Wall of Death at Warped Tour was. That's you're not bringing in Metallica money. But he, had clothing, and he was an entrepreneur.
Sure.
So maybe he's not working at Starbucks. I can't say the same for the rest of the band.
It's not actual Attila from Mayhem, right? I
mean, no. The name of the band is Attila.
Okay.
But anyway, I think that was the year that I fell asleep just laying on my back on the hill next to the exit because I had a horrific headache because I was extremely dehydrated. And so I just took a nap with my hat over my face to cover my face from the sun. And a security guard came up to me to see if I was alive.
He poked you with a baton?
I was just laying there, and I heard, "Sir, sir, are you okay?" It's like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine. I'm just taking a nap, waiting for my friends to get done. They'll see me. They know where I'm at." "Okay, you sure you don't you don't need me to take you to the medical tent or something?" It's like, "No, I'm all right." It's like, "Okay." And they left me, but that was a long day. And then the next day, once we got up at my friend's absolutely just awful, terrible, disgusting apartment, I slept on the couch, and that morning when I got up, I could barely stand.
Really?
I tried to stand up, and my calves almost exploded.
Oof.
Just immediate, instantaneous cramps. My mom came to pick me up after that, and I hobbled out to her car to get in, just so completely physically devastated.
Wow.
I just because I had never been to a music festival before, so I didn't really have a concept for what constituted overdoing it. I was 18. Of course, I was going to go absolutely batshit insane at my first ever music festival. It was my only the third ever proper series of concerts I'd been to. I went to see Journey at the State Fair that time they were here. And I was 16. And then a week before Warped Tour, I managed to catch Silent Planet in Bismarck.
Sure. But it was an impromptu kind of show.
Yeah, they did. They were on their way back to California from their tour ended on the East Coast, and they talked to a bunch of bands that they knew and were like, "Hey, could we just pop up in some of these shows that you're doing to make a little bit of money on our way home?" And so I found out they were doing a show in Bismarck and went down to this tiny little space at a record store in Bismarck. And that was the second ever concert I had gone to.
Wow.
I was like, "Oh, okay, I can do this literally all day.
Concerts are easy.
All day and outside. I can definitely handle this.
This won't kill me."
Good God, could I not handle it? It was.
You could do it now.
Oh yeah,
now that
I could definitely do it now.
Now that you're in good shape and well seasoned.
I wouldn't. I would not absolutely snap in half. At some point along my back. I'm pretty sure if I tried to do that amount of headbanging, I would probably seriously injure my spine in some way. You know what I don't miss about Warped Tour? What's
that?
I guess it's weird to say things I miss about Warped Tour. Warped Tour's not gone anymore. It's ongoing right now.
Yeah, well, it's back.
There's the current version is it's back now. I don't know all the other bands that are on it. I know at least the Wonder Years are performing a couple of dates at the very least. But something I don't miss about that was all the times I got kicked in the fucking head.
Yeah.
By fucking crowd surfers. God damn
I hate
it.
that shit.
I despite because I want to be in the spot in the crowd where I can get the best sound and see the band and everything, and that's also the spot where all the fucking crowd surfers go over.
You know, it's funny. I've been to...
and they go from the back, too.
Yeah. Oh, it's awful.
They start from the back and go to the front because they can't dive off the stage, and so you don't see them coming.
So you just a sudden foot to the head.
Somebody's fucking combat boot nails me in the back of the head. God damn.
We go to like fair concerts. Those are the only concerts I really go to anymore because I am old. And...
old!
It will happen to you. But whoever going, usually my youngest son, will sit up there in the stands in our chairs, and I'll have my beverage, and I'll have a couple of hot dogs ready to go, and I'll look down at all the people standing down there in the pot smoke, and trying to keep their beer from getting kicked out of their hand, and like. What the fuck was I thinking? I mean, I can hear it just fine.
How could I ever be down there?
Yeah, no, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to sit down, and as soon as they're done playing the show, I want to...
Yeah. Golf clap.
Very good, very good.
Very good, yes. Yeah. I think that's one of the concerts at like bars. I think that's something that's nice where bars that have like a stage and everything,
like the
where you can get a table and you can sit down and you can watch the show, but you can also sit there with your drink, and just sit down and be all right.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I'm 29, and that's already
29
where
going
I'm at.
on 70.
Yeah, that's already where I'm at.
Yeah, I like that bar. I don't go in there very often though because I never hear about the concerts I would want to go to ahead of time.
Yeah.
I drive by the sign on my way to another obligation.
Yeah.
And I go, oh shit, I should be there tonight.
Yeah.
Damn.
I think the only times I've ever been to the O have been for the handful of shows I've seen
like
there.
Ghost Bath and
the time I saw Ghost Bath there, and I guess I went late to Kegs and Eggs one year, which is a MSU homecoming event that they hold because the O's right next to campus.
Right.
And I did go late one year. I wanted to go to the event proper, but I couldn't because I was... Zima!
She's trying to get up the wall. She's trying to get up to the top of the door. I don't know what she's doing.
Oh, she does that. She does anytime she can climb up to something relatively tall, and then there's like some sort of thing that she thinks she should be able to climb onto, but she absolutely will not be physically able to do that. She complains about it.
Sure.
Like I'm going to do something about it. She does that. She gets on top of her cat tree and she'll put her paws up on the fucking runners for the blinds in my living room.
Right.
And she like looks at it and looks around and meows and cries. It's like, what do you want me to do? If you want to jump up there, jump up there.
I still have this memory of my cat Melody. This is when my second wife and I were dating. We hadn't gotten married yet, and we're at her apartment, and she bought a cat named Melody, a little black cat, and saw the cupboards and saw that there was space above the cupboards. You know how cupboards hang in the middle of space.
Yeah.
And so she got up on top of the microwave and leaped as fast as she could, face first, to the wall above the cupboards. I felt so bad for laughing because she's probably injured, but God, that was funny.
Yeah. I mean, cats are resilient.
They are.
Which protects them when they do something especially stupid. I don't remember what I was talking about before she started fucking screaming.
You're talking about kegs and eggs? Kegs and eggs.
Yeah. I couldn't go to the event because I was part of the crew for my friend's morning sports show, and since it was homecoming, we were doing a show.
Right.
And so instead what I did was make myself one could call it perhaps a college screwdriver.
Sure.
Which is to say vodka and Sunny D. It was disgusting, and I got a headache because there's way too much sugar in that. I honestly, I think that is the moment that I got what now I have a bit of an aversion to Sunny D. Like,
I think I always have.
Yeah, I really liked it when I was a kid because of course I did, because it's 8 trillion % sugar. But now I think since that moment I've just kind of associated it with the feeling of like, oh God, it's 11 a.m. and I have a hangover that I didn't have when I woke up.
How do you feel about Tampico?
I don't think I've ever had Tampico.
Tampico is the Great Value Sunny D.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah, you buy it in the gallon milk jug for like 90 cents.
Yeah,
and then you pour it in a glass and you go, well, it looks like it should have flavor.
It's orange. I can't do Sunny D anymore. It's just I like me some actual orange juice.
You like the real OJ.
I like the real OJ, which is to say, Mr. Simpson.
Yes. Like him?
Yep, I love him.
Yeah.
My favorite guy.
Stand-up fellow, that OJ Simpson.
Rest in peace.
Oh, God. He's running through that airport in the sky.
He's running through that big airport in the sky.
He's
driving down the freeway in the sky.
in his white Bronco.
White Bronco.
Oh my God.
In his beautiful gloves.
Did we talk about that? Have you seen the trailer for the new Naked Gun movie?
I haven't seen the trailer.
You haven't seen the trailer? There's this one. I don't want to spoil it for you, but whatever. You can all these, you see Liam Neeson looking up at Leslie Nielsen's character, is on a picture of him.
Yeah.
He's, I hope I'm doing you proud, Papa. And then you can see all the police officers are looking up at, the pictures of cast members from the original movies. And then there's the one black cop over here who's looking up at O.J. Simpson. He turns directly to the camera and goes,
nope.
Nope.
I had forgotten that. Yeah, O.J. Simpson was the co-star of those movies.
He was. That's what he's known for.
Yeah. I mean, other than being a pro football player.
Sure, right. But was he known for something else?
No, I can't think of anything else.
I still remember having the conversation with the one sales. What was his name? We had a sales staff for a brief period, and then he.
There's been a couple of guys.
He was tall,
Steve,
handsome fellow, not Steve.
Oh God, I don't remember his name.
Kind of a wacko.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was me, him, and Quinn talking, and Quinn was talking about how I'd catch a connecting flight in Denver, and it was all the way on the other side of the airport, and so he says, because he's a man who's like 60 years old, and he's looking at Quinn. He's so you had to pull an O.J. Simpson. Well, Quinn is like 27. So all he knows O.J. Simpson for is, murder.
Yeah.
So he looked really confused. I said, okay, let me be the bridge here. He's talking about a commercial from the 70s.
Where O.J. Simpson ran through an airport.
Right, with his luggage, and his Samsonite luggage could handle the,
Yeah. You had to pull an O.J. Simpson. Yeah. You mean I had to murder my ex-wife and her boyfriend? Why would I have to do that to get through the airport?
At DIA.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I'll
be out of plane soon.
Oh, are you going to Vegas?
Yeah. In July.
I'm gonna try to go in Septiembre.
So, yes.
I think you and I are probably going to do about an equal amount of gambling.
Which is to say none.
None, yeah.
I am now preparing a session that I didn't know I was going to do until yesterday morning.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe not yesterday. Maybe it was Monday morning. I don't remember when the seeds of this idea bloomed. But like I my first D&D campaign with this group, it wrapped up, and I had played 2 characters, and the second character that I had played, I had decided to do something kind of cruel to them, my character, but I wanted it to be a mystery. I was like, this character is leaving. He's saying goodbye. He says goodbye, and then you never hear from him again. And everyone was like, "What?
Yeah.
What happened?"
Him back?
And so for this session, we're bringing back those original characters. It's going to be 20 years later, and I'm going to finally explain what happened to my other character. It's weird because it feels self-indulgent how cruel I'm being to myself.
Really?
It's a weird I have this feeling is like, okay, this session is going to be all about my character. So it feels really self-indulgent, but it's not that D&D thing where you're like, oh, and my character is going to be super duper powerful. Right. It's like, no, I ruined his fucking life. And here's what happened.
Are you going to have some sort of maybe physical change that you're not going to explain to anybody?
He's not coming back. They are like rescuing him. So the short of it is my character was a drow paladin.
Okay.
Who was part of this culture of separatists that were trying to free themselves from Lolth, who is the evil spider queen.
Sure.
That rules over all the dark elves in most D&D worlds.
Right.
And he takes part in this revolution against the drow who still worship Lolth. It goes bad. He gets captured and gets teleported to Lolth's realm directly and turned into a Drider, which is half elf, half spider. They're like a centaur, but their bottom half is a spider. And being a Drider is not fun. It's really bad. They're almost always completely insane. They're having a bad time. And we did this thing with a character who my character briefly dated, where he exists in the dream world. And he can he's like Freddy Krueger, but if Freddy Krueger was a really nice surfer bro.
Wow.
So anyway, this character, Chet, finally figures out what happened to my character, Larian. And there's like some horrible, fucked up nightmare sphere surrounding him. And so he contacts all the old party members in their dreams and gets them to get in there and find out what's going on and help him out. So it's going to be fun, and also I will probably make myself cry a couple of times, just like acting through the emotions and whatnot. So yeah, it'll be. Hopefully, everyone else enjoys it as much as I am enjoying it, because otherwise I feel like it's going to sound so like blowing smoke up my own ass. Part of it, I think is like everyone's really excited to be playing their old characters again, who are much more powerful than our current characters. Our old characters are level 16.
Wow.
So and like everyone's going to have a scene at the start of the session of like, what's your character been doing? Where are they at 22 years later? Talk about their lives, talk about their kids if they have them. What have they been doing? And like that'll be really fun. And part of it is also that like I left this mystery hanging and everyone's been really curious about it, so I don't feel too bad about finally really taking some time to explain it and focusing the whole session on this thing, because everybody is genuinely interested, as it would seem. So, but there is that voice in the back of my head that's just like, you're being that weird kind of D&D, role player or DM where you're making it all about your character, and it's like, but everybody knows that's the point, and they're on board with it anyway. So it's not like I'm doing it out of the blue. And again, it's not like I'm making them the most super powerful, cool, hottest guy ever. It's like, no, I gave them a terrible, terrible curse and they're miserable. So yeah.
And the D&D party was stunned when suddenly the DM started filleting himself.
When he folded himself in half. They didn't know he had 2 of his ribs removed. Like Marilyn Manson.
That's a
myth.
That's a myth.
Anyway. Speaking of Marilyn Manson, you know what's not like Marilyn Manson? Vengeance Rising.
No, well, yeah, okay.
Not really. So
did you read the whole story about this band?
I briefly, I didn't like in detail, but it's weird.
Yeah.
So if you don't know, Vengeance Rising was an American thrash metal band from L.A. Formed by a bunch of different people under the original name Vengeance in 1987, but they eventually changed their name in 1989 to Vengeance Rising because there was already a band from the Netherlands called Vengeance. And when they were founded, they consisted of band members Larry Farkas, Doug Teamy?
I think it's Team.
Roger Dale Martin, and Glenn Mancuso, as well as, did I say Roger Martinez? Or is that Roger Dale Martin? Or where's Roger Martinez in there? Oh, it fronted. I'm reading a Wikipedia article, so Roger Martinez is the first name in a previous sentence. So that's why he's not included in the next sentence. But
right.
Anyway, so Roger Martinez was their vocalist and frontman, and he had a bit of a journey in his life.
Yes, he did.
So he started out as he was actually, I believe, a pastor. He was raised in the Pentecostal Foursquare Church.
Sure.
Which means that they had a small little device that you could plug into your iPhone. That's not Foursquare. That's just Square, isn't it?
Right. Yeah.
What's Foursquare?
It's a game where you get the big round ball.
Okay.
And you got to.
Yeah. But anyway, he became a pastor of a Hollywood area church, and then eventually he left the Christian faith, considering himself an atheist by 1997, and then at some point he just straight up apparently converted to Satanism at some point, though it's atheistic Satanism, not deistic Satanism,
right?
But bit of a journey. I mean, he's far from the only person to have taken that kind of journey, but
the wedding, by the way, was LaVeyan Satanist.
Yeah. But the rest of the band did not share in that journey.
Sure.
And they were considered a Christian thrash metal band. Though it's interesting because the band, like, I think for some genres, when you think of the Christian version of it, it usually doesn't sound as serious.
Right.
There's something about it that feels like it's a knockoff almost sometimes. Yeah. It depends on the band and the genre. But with this band, boy, is this a thrash metal album. And
it is.
Roger Martinez's vocals are actually more death metal vocals than anything, though it's death metal circa 1988.
Right, yeah. It's not 1995 death metal.
And I think that the musicianship is really strong. The riffs were really good. I thought the songwriting was great. It's good thrash metal. I don't like Martinez's vocals. No. I straight up don't like them. I think he has like some promise as a vocalist.
But he was using it weird.
He was using it weird to the point where his voice cracks.
Right.
Constantly. And there's little squeaks and shrieks in there on occasion that don't sound at all intentional and just really sort of put me off and made me not enjoy any time he was singing.
Yeah.
It's that sort of thing where, like, normally your producer or engineer, if you've got the time or the money, would, in this day and age where, that type of vocal is more of an established thing, like, here's what people expect this to sound like and consider good. Do you want to do that again without, that crack in there? Do you want to take that again? I don't know if there was if that wisdom existed at this time, because these kinds of vocals were pretty new.
Yeah. It was pretty new, and they were recording on a physical medium.
Yeah. So it wasn't as easy to just stop and take something again. But even so, it was like, really, that was your best take? And yeah, I mean, not that they lack in intensity or energy by any means, but just it sounded like what you would consider today to be a pretty amateurish take on death metal vocals. Like you're in a 17-year-old and you've only just started doing this.
Right.
Is kind of what it sounds like, which is probably not far off the mark, to be honest, of where they were at this time. But after Mr. Martinez left the Christian faith and eventually became a Satanist, things only got weirder. He would eventually make death threats against some people who he claimed had, stabbed him in the back somehow. People from other bands that he didn't like. He specifically began making material to try and counteract stuff that he made when he was still a Christian. It's almost like the reverse of from Megadeth.
Dave Mustaine?
Yeah, it's almost like the reverse of what Dave Mustaine does now, where he refuses to perform certain songs because now he's like a hardcore Christian.
I mean, it's the same with Wasp, I found out as well.
I'm not familiar with Wasp.
Oh, I'm going to have to bring them sometime.
Wasp.
Blackie Lawless.
White Anglo-Saxon Protestants? Is that what the band stood for?
They never actually say. And they do it. They did it as an acronym. It is.
I feel like we've talked about, maybe not as an episode subject, but I think we've had some words about Wasp. We've had some words about Wasp.
We're going to have words. Yeah.
But yeah, he started burning bridges with people from his Christian days, and that eventually included the former members of the band, this band that we're talking about, of Vengeance Rising. Specifically, something that he did after September 11th for some reason. He started offering free albums from his website to military personnel to apparently somehow encourage what he referred to as a, quote, holy war against Christians.
What?
I don't know how he was aiming to accomplish that by giving free albums to what I presume to be American military personnel. But okay. Some fans have said they believe it to be an attack on his former bandmates in Christianity. Some band members apparently departed after a tour and he was left in debt and whatnot. It's confusing and weird, and the story of the band has been called one of the most bizarre stories in the realm of metal, especially in Christian metal as it is. I think probably the most bizarre story and most, maybe not the most bizarre, but the most famous story is actually the inverse, which is in satanic metal being the story of Mayhem is probably the most famous bizarre story in the history of metal. But if you want bizarre stories coming out of the Christian metal world,
this one.
These are the guys.
Yeah. There are better Christian thrash metal bands.
Really?
There are, yeah.
I just feel like it would be such a small section of bands, because thrash metal felt from its very genesis to be a very not explicitly anti-Christian or a satanic thing, but it's just because thrash metal is kind of a little bit rooted in punk. There is that fuck you attitude that always started with it.
Right.
That doesn't, punk and Christianity don't really go together too much.
I wonder if there are Christian punk bands. There has to be.
There have to be.
Yeah.
There's no, I mean, there's a Christian version of every kind of music. There's Christian black metal.
Sure, yeah.
They refer to themselves as white metal sometimes, which has
that's something
even
entirely
more.
different. Because black metal often refers to themselves as white metal.
Yeah,
I mean, yeah.
But yikes. But yeah, it just seems like thrash metal's ethos is so kind of antithetical to the idea of having a Christian band. But if you're doing Christian thrash metal, then you do it the way that these guys do it, which is kind of doubling down on the inherent sort of violent parts of the Bible and of even the story of Christ, there's very, aggressive, violent things the crucifixion itself is pretty fucking metal when you think about it. I mean, if you've watched The Passion of the Christ, you look at anything from the last hour of that movie and tell me that's not fucking gnarly and metal as fuck. I
wonder if you couldn't just watch that movie with the sound down and make your own soundtrack.
You probably could.
I mean, they did that with the original Nosferatu. It was a silent movie.
Yeah.
And then they decided to just slap some typo negative on it and market it as a DVD. And I bought it, and I'm like, I watched it several times.
Sure.
Yeah.
You could probably do that. Mm-hmm. So, there absolutely are things in the Bible that, if you're looking to make a metal album, you can absolutely focus on and get some good material. Mm-hmm. And there are non-Christian bands that have done that specifically from, a critical point of view,
right?
Rather than a Christian point of view from hey, this is what's happening in that book you like so much.
Yeah,
that's kind of fucked up, dude. You're calling us evil because our music sounds scary, and this is what's happening in the book you like. Think about that for a second, my guy.
That would be so crazy to
people getting turned into pillars of salt.
John the Baptist. Remember what happened to him, right?
Yeah.
That would be weird. Congregation, please rise. Everyone rises. Dude, Jesus was metal as fuck.
Well, that's the sermons in Metal Church.
Yeah.
Those are the sermons they give in Metal Church.
Yeah, in Metal Church. By the band Metal Church.
By the band Metal Church.
On the album.
Metal Church. Yeah. But there's definitely some pretty gnarly stuff that happens in the Bible for sure.
Sure.
So that's the sort of thing that you can do is really focus on those things to make a genuine sounding, pretty gnarly, pretty aggressive and dark sounding thrash metal album. Like when you've listened to the musical style, especially with the style of vocals that this album has, it is definitely on the harsher end of thrash metal for sure. It's musically, sonically, it's down there with Slayer.
Yeah. For Seven Churches, listen to that album.
Yeah, from Possessed. Mm-hmm. They're down there with the bands that are famous for satanic imagery.
Only there are songs. Now, here's one song I'd like to listen to on repeat. Receive Him.
Yeah. When did Scum come out? Because that
was before this.
Okay, because that feels like they were doing a thing off of You Suffer.
Yeah. Because there's that one, and there's Salvation is the other song.
They're extremely short. They're micro songs.
Right.
Receive Him is technically, the track is technically 8 seconds long.
Right, but
there's about
silence.
3 seconds of music. And it sounds very much like they were doing a riff, if you will, off of the Napalm Death song "You Suffer." Mm-hmm. You suffer, boy. Those are the lyrics. I sung the whole song for you.
Right.
I would love to do karaoke to that. If there was a genuine karaoke track. And just like, all right, I've been waiting 40 minutes, getting up here on the stage. It would be so hard though, because it would be so easy to totally miss the mark.
Well,
you would need a count. Okay,
they usually give you a countdown when it's a cold open like that.
Okay, because it would be so easy to miss the entire song accidentally and come in late.
And then say, can I do that again? He said, well, you have to put it in the note again.
Yeah,
wait another 40 minutes.
Yep. We got a bunch of people.
Yeah,
a bunch of people in front of you. Yeah. There's a line.
Well, what's funny is that Napalm Death actually did that on a talk show in England.
Yeah, I saw. I've seen the clip. I've seen the clip of them playing it.
They brought their instruments out. They had people set up. There was a mic check. Tested the lights.
I think they did play some of their other material as well, because I've seen. I think they actually appeared. There was a British children's variety show or something that they appeared on. Maybe it wasn't explicitly children's, but maybe it was for teenagers or something like that. But it was like a general audience's thing, and they made an appearance as like a topic of like, oh, some people make different kinds of music. Here's these guys, and it was who's the vocalist before Barney Greenway?
Cathedral. Oh, that's gonna kill me.
There's so many noises that happened. It was great.
He's in the. God damn it, Lee Dorian.
Yeah, that sounds correct. Let me check here. Let me check. Is
Lemmy in the room?
Where's Lemmy at?
We're doing a Lemmy check.
It's not. The article is so dense that they're not.
Are you looking at the Napalm Death?
Yeah, I was looking at Napalm Death for some. Yeah, Lee Dorian.
Yeah,
Lee Dorian. But yeah, I remember it was Lee Dorian at the time, and they were just talking about in the thickest Birmingham accent, just about what kind, the kind of music they make and why they make it sound that way, and it's like, it's not we're not bad guys or anything. We just we just like how fast it sounds, and how it just gets lots of emotions out. I don't think that's a Birmingham accent at all.
You were just trying to do Aussie kind of.
Yeah, basically that's my only like reference point for a Birmingham accent is Ozzy Osbourne.
Right. Did you hear what the water company? What the hell is that?
Liquid Death.
Yeah.
I overheard you talking about it. I didn't read it myself.
Yeah, they collected 10 different cans that Ozzy drank out of. Then they hermetically sealed them because they have his DNA on them, and they're calling Ozzy Forever cans. So they're selling for $450. So eventually, someday,
you could clone Ozzy Osbourne.
We need a new Ozzy.
I mean, he has been the subject of scientific studies to figure out why cocaine doesn't do shit to him.
Well, it does shit to him. It just doesn't harm him.
I think part of it, I mean, does he actually get a high off of it, or is it just like does he just kind of level out? Because maybe he has like advanced ADHD, where
that would not shock me.
Even an extremely intense stimulant has the effect that normally Adderall has on people who have ADHD, where like instead he just needs a much, much more intense stimulant.
Which kind of, and I probably shouldn't admit this out loud, I have a friend of mine who didn't have ADHD, but took a whole lot of Adderall just to pep himself up.
Yeah.
He's like, hey, Oj, we got to close down the blackjack site tonight. Take a couple of these. I'm like, all right. I took them, and I'm like, I don't know what this is supposed to do.
I feel normal for the first time ever.
I feel fine. I feel focused.
Weird.
This is odd.
That's crazy.
Am I supposed to be high or something right
now? Am I supposed to be feeling something other than just like calm?
God, I kind of remember my childhood again.
Yeah, I mean, like thinking about everything else about Ozzy Osbourne, it does kind of make sense that he might have ADHD, like down to a history of substance abuse as a coping mechanism.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't want to diagnose somebody. I'm not an expert, but it seems like it would make sense.
Yeah, and you watch him over the last 55 years.
He's always
he's
a very energetic guy.
Right, and the way he moves, the way he talks, the way he focuses.
Yeah.
His eye movements.
Or the lack thereof.
Yeah. Sharon.
Yeah, I don't know. It makes sense. Yeah. We were talking about Vengeance Rising at some point. Does this album slap?
I mean, yeah.
I think it, yeah, sure. I couldn't find much in the way of like scores to write down or aggregate, so I don't know. This album does have a semi-legendary status,
right,
especially among the Christian metal scene, as like, oh, this was the most hardcore thing you could listen to if you wanted to listen to Christian metal, and it was too hardcore for some Christians, predictably.
Yeah.
Despite the content being just in some cases lifted directly out of the Bible, it was the music and the vocal styles especially was just too extreme for some people,
right? And
some Christian stores just straight up refused to sell it or pulled it off of shelves.
Indeed, yeah. For a very brief period, this was in like your basic Christian gift store.
Yeah,
they had the CD rack, and I remember being there with my mom at one point, going, really?
Yeah. I think there was also some objection to the cover art as well, which ultimately is just a picture of a crucified hand, which should be iconography that's not upsetting to Christians to look at. That's literally
That's the
something
centerpiece.
you can see in almost every church. Why is that upsetting to look at? But I guess it was. What's your favorite song on here?
I mean, I like Beheaded. It is my favorite final song on there. And I was listening to it again, and I'm like, oh, that's just Caught in a Mosh by Anthrax. With different words over it.
Oh,
but
no.
I still like it a lot. So
I didn't pay close enough attention, honestly, to actually write down a favorite, unfortunately. I was doing some other stuff, and before I knew it, the album was over, and I didn't have enough time to listen to it again. So I wasn't able to pick out a favorite out of the songs on here. There was one that felt largely instrumental, so maybe I'll say that one.
yeah.
What medal do you bestow upon this, like Masquerade Chewbacca?
It's on the line. I'll still give it a silver.
Yeah, it's a low silver for me.
I was gonna. Is it a bronze? Nah, it's at least a silver, I guess.
Yeah, like I said, I think
The legendary status.
Yeah, the musicianship is genuinely quite good. There's a lot of great guitar playing and just instrumental work being done here in general. I just don't care for the vocals. The lyrical content I'm fine with. Like I've listened to plenty of Christian bands before. Silent Planet is technically a Christian band, and they're one of my favorite bands ever. So that's I have no issue with that. So next week, I know what I want to listen to for a change.
Awesome.
It's another new album from a technical / progressive death metal band.
Okay.
And a band that we have talked about before as well. I would like to talk about Xenotaph by Fallujah.
Oh, I like Fallujah.
It's their brand new album.
Didn't know they
I've
had one.
listened to a bunch of it already, and it's really fucking good, in my opinion.
So, spoiler alert.
Spoilers. It's good. I'm excited to talk about that with you next week because I think you will enjoy it as well.
Sweet.
All right. So until then, why don't you go ahead and subscribe to our podcast feed on whatever podcast service you are using to listen to us right now. Once you've done that, thank you for doing that. And thank you for listening to another episode of the Bronze Medalist Podcast. I'm Kale.
I'm OJ.
Congratulations.